docket 2021070678. It's entitled by petition for an injunction against harassment. Shelley Rothy as plaintiff versus Connie Wingo as defendant. It's alleged in the petition that on the 17th of March this year, Mesa, Arizona, by brief description, a page and a half worth, incidents on separate copy for which she's seeking the order against Miss Wingo. Is Miss Rothy here? Right up there at that table, have a seat.
My husband is a witness as well? My husband is a witness as well?
He'll be sworn and excluded from the courtroom.
Okay.
When it's his turn to be sworn. And you are Miss Wingo?
Yes.
You have a seat at the table over there, please. All right. Specifically, it's stated in the petition as follows, according to the description attached to the petition. This all started when Connie and her son Robert moved into Lot 140 in January 2021. When I first met Connie, she bragged about having a gun and said she knew how to shoot it and wasn't afraid to use it. Connie shared stories with me and others that were horrific and always involved the use of a firearm. The first story was that her son was murdered, and when they were in court, her husband at the time took out a gun and shot the guy that killed her son, and then turned the gun on himself. Connie also said she was shot 4 times in the stomach and still has a bullet in her body. After the next gun story about her shooting and killing a man in the groin, that was enough for me to realize that I needed to have some awareness to what Connie and her son are capable of, and it really scared me and my husband. Prior to Connie moving in, we had a great quiet neighborhood without all the drama. I was caring for a colony of TNR cats at Lot 139. Lot 139 is a home where the owner is a snowbird, and since COVID has not been able to return. I have written permission to care for his home and care for my colony of 6 cats. Every morning and at night I would go over to feed them. When one morning, within a few weeks of Connie and her 27-year-old son living next door, my cat's food bowls and water were disappearing. I asked Connie about it, and she denied having anything to do with it. Over a few months, over 30 bowls were stolen. I was extremely stressed about who was stealing from me and was worried about the welfare of the animals. The stealing continued with all the bedding, toys, blankets, and a cat tower. Robert, Connie's son, was sneaking over and stealing from me. I found this out when my neighbors witnessed him doing so. On July 4th, 2021, when I was in the hospital recovering from surgery, my husband went to Lot 139 to feed the cats. My husband discovered once again all the dishes were gone. He walked around looking for them on Lot 139. When Connie's son approached my husband from her home, Robert appears very agitated and aggressively addressed my husband, admitting that he stole the bowls and said he was tired of the cats and threatened to come out at night and start shooting the cats. My husband told me that he was very afraid of her son because he was so angry and they had multiple guns. My neighbor heard Robert from across the street. He was that angry. After hearing this, I was terrified to go out to lot 139 and feed the cats. My neighbor was out walking her dog at 3:30 a.m. when she heard a loud shot fired at lot 140. Terrified, she ducked, and in that moment, a cat came flying around the road. One by one, my entire colony has disappeared. Connie and her son, after a few months, put up 9 security cameras that surrounded their home. These cameras operate 24/7. Since it takes a bit to get cats moved, I still had to go over to lot 139 to feed them. I was very aware of the cameras. I just stayed on lot 39 and took care of business. I was over there when Connie's son came out and started to harass me about feeding the cats and for trespassing on lot 139. Robert was very intimidating with his language and the gun he was carrying, so I decided for my own protection I should video this encounter. I was so shaken up that as soon as he stepped away, I ran home and called the police. The harassing has really escalated at this point. They are watching me 24/7. I was over at lot 139 filming the roof for the owner. They watched me on camera the whole time. I never stepped foot on their property, yet they called the cops to report that I was trespassing. For months, my husband and I have been stressed out and terrified they would come over to our house and hurt us in some way. Another neighbor was riding his bike when he witnessed Connie and her son in front of our house looking in our mailbox to get our names. We then were told to keep our exterior lights on at all times. Now they have our full names and they are able to hack into our Facebook account. I have everything on friends only and only found this out when they called the cops again about me posting an exterior shot of her home. This is when I knew they got into my account and they were looking for anything that they would use against me. For months I have not been able to sleep. I'm depressed and horrified at what has been done to my husband and I. We can't even walk out to the end of our carport without being security light coming on and watching us. We can't leave the house without fear of one or both of them coming over and breaking in or doing any other harm. I'm afraid to even drive past your house. I should not have to live like this. These people can harm innocent animals. I can't even imagine what they can do to me. And it was set for a hearing today. Both parties have been notified of the hearing date and are present. Each of you raise your right hands to be sworn. Each of you swear from the testimony to give this court this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
I do.
Okay. You're a witness. Come on up, sir, to the podium here. Come up to the podium. Pull the gate open to come to the podium.
His hearing isn't really.
I tried to raise my voice a little bit. If you will give me your name for the record first.
I'm sorry.
Your name for the record.
Michael Mordick.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give this court this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to exclude you from the courtroom until you're called in to testify. Your testimony will not be affected by what you hear from either the parties testifying. It'll be your own testimony about any instance pertaining to anything that's alleged in this matter. So we'll call you in when it's your turn. If you have a seat, there's some benches out there. Just have a seat till we call you in.
Out there?
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, now, this is a petition from Ms. Rothy.
Yes.
So outside, sir, outside the courtroom. Thank you. You carry the burden of proof. It's your petition, so you present your evidence first. You give your testimony, whatever you have to present, and then you call your witness in after you've done your testimony.
Okay.
She has a right to ask questions. If she has any questions of you or your witness, then she'll be able to give her testimony in response to what you've alleged. then when she's finished, you'll be able to give your reply testimony to her response testimony, and then you can each make final statements. And I'll decide whether to grant this or not. So that's what we're here for today, okay? So you'll begin, you've outlined this. There's some things in here that pertain to some generalizations, if you will. You say you feel threatened, but there's nothing that I've seen or read in here that you called the police because they were threatening you with guns?
Well, the main thing was getting an injunction against her son, Robert. When I called the cops the first time...
Where's Robert? Did you have to file one against him?
Well, that's when I first came in and talked to you about this. I said I couldn't do it because I can't get his last name. Nobody wants to give me his last name. And I can't, he lives there in a 55+ community, he's 27 years old, and it's like some big secret. When I called the police, when he approached me with a gun that day, and was threatening about me feeding the cats, I called the police then.
Did the police take any action against him?
They dealt with her only. He went and hid in the bathroom or bedroom and wouldn't even come out.
But you told them it was her son?
Yeah, I called the cops about him, not her.
That they never investigated or they got any contact with him?
No, and then twice it was about him. I mean, the cops have come out twice about him, not her.
Well,
but Connie's always dealt with it.
It surprises me if you're saying that you were concerned because he was brandishing a weapon, a gun.
Right.
And that they wouldn't have taken action to require him to come out or get a warrant and go pick him out and take him out of there if they're concerned about him having weapons. And you're concerned about him brandishing those weapons when he was around you. But that's what and again, I can't apply anything that he was doing towards her in any injunctions. It's only what you have to say about her and her behaviors as opposed to Robert's.
Right.
You understand that?
Well, I would like to get his last name because he really needs to be held accountable as well. And how does one do that?
I'm telling you, we're here on this one's all I'm telling you. So this is against Connie Wingo, not against him.
Right.
So this won't be an order against him if it's granted to be against her. You understand that?
Okay.
Okay.
So then how do I go about that?
I can't give you any instruction on how to do that.
Right.
Like I said, calling the police and saying, well, he was carrying a weapon around, and it was in a threatening manner or whatever you want to describe it, then to me it seems like they would have investigated by saying, we need to talk to your son, where is he? And have him come out. If he refuses to come out, then they go and get a warrant from a court that issues those kind of warrants. And then they could speak with him and get information from his name and question about the allegations that were made and so forth.
Right. Okay.
I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, because it's not, it's
Okay.
both of them. It's both Connie and her son.
Well, what I'm saying is that we're here because you filed a petition.
Right.
Again, you only do one against one person at a time.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and this is against Connie, so we're here on her.
Yeah.
Anything that is alleged to have been done by Robert can be applied towards her. It's what her behavior is, not his, that is applied to her, is what I'm trying to say. But let's go ahead and proceed then. Give your testimony as a Miss Wingo as to why you want an order against her.
Okay.
Okay.
And, with Connie, I've been there for 10 years, living in Holiday Village. And she hasn't even been there a year. And she moved in, and honestly, Your Honor, it's been nothing but lies from this woman from the minute she moved in. I told her that these cats are being well cared for. They weren't even on her property. And it's sad it comes down to cats, but unfortunately, this is how it all started. And the home she moved into was abandoned, and all these cats were left behind, and I removed them and put them next door off her property because I knew the home would sell. She moves in, not even there a year. She's fine. She's like, oh, I love cats. I'm fine with cats. And then it's like a whole turnaround. Threatening to kill the cats, everything gets stolen. My neighbors, honestly, would love to have come in to witness, but they're even terrified of these people. They don't want to come in because they don't want what's happening to me happen to them. And all I've done is cared for these cats off of her property. They're telling me I'm trespassing. I've never stepped foot on her property. I just took care of the cats. And then when Robert approached and said, I'm gonna kill the cats, and I decided to move the animals. And with her, it's just, I don't trust the woman. I mean, the lies, I mean, I had a friend come over one day, we were over there, I was showing him my kittens. We were walking back and she literally followed us down the road and told me she had her pistol in her back. It's like, what are you doing? I mean, it's off your property. I mean, I don't know what her fear is or paranoia is. I mean, they have security cameras all around their home. I literally went out just the other day and the light comes right on. They watch everything we do from my carport. And you know what? I'm tired of this. It's like, you know what? You can have cameras, I get that. But I've done nothing to this woman. I've just taken care of cats. And then, of course, in all this time, and because of calling the cops, is because of the well-being of the animals, which, you know, people don't understand that cats are protected by Arizona state law, free roaming cats. And then she decided to set up a trap, and then one by one, they're all gone. And it's illegal. You can't relocate a cat. You can't trap it and relocate it. And it didn't matter. I mean, I don't know why she has so much hatred towards me, because I've done nothing to this woman. You know, but I just it's done now. I mean, all my cats are gone, you know, even though I relocated them across the street. You know, but for me, I do not trust her. They sit in their home 24 hours a day. They never leave their home. They watch their cameras. They watch my Facebook. Everything I post, everything I do, they're constantly watching me. Everything I do. And it's ridiculous. I can't post anything on Facebook. I post something about someone not even relevant to her, and she's coming down on me thinking I'm talking about her. It has nothing to do with her. I'm just living my life. You know, and I don't know why it has to be this way, but it's just ridiculous, honestly. And it's sad to me that all of my neighbors, they just don't want anything to do with her or her son. Everybody stays clear of them because of that. And the constant stories, she tells a 80-year-old man across the street that she killed a guy, shot him, and bled out. She tells these horrific stories to people, and that her son was murdered, and that in the courtroom, her ex-husband turned the gun and killed the guy that killed her son and then killed himself. I did a little research. I'm not finding anything that horrific with no emotion. The woman has no emotion. How can you not have emotion about your son being murdered? And then I believe another story was her other son committed suicide. Her grandchild was almost kidnapped. I mean, the stories are just crazy, unbelievable. And so, you know, I'm like far away from it. Really, honestly, the best way to handle things is sometimes to just stay away from it, which is fine. But I do not trust her, and I just feel like every time we leave the home, they know when we're gone. I mean, the last time she called the cops on me, she told the cop, oh, they're home now. Oh, yeah, because they know when we come and when we go. I mean, I make one little post on Facebook and she's calling the cops on me, and it's just ridiculous. It's just getting to the point where, I don't know, 1 year, like I said, she hasn't even been in this community for 1 year. And already, everybody, and I'm here because I believe I need to stand up to it. It's time, you know, you just don't lay back and allow these things to happen. You stand up and you have a voice and to be heard. And it's like, it's ridiculous that, you know, she comes in and that she can dictate and say, I'm trespassing on Jeff's property that I have written permission to take care of and be on. And right now, I can't even go over and do that because I go near her cameras, I get on her camera, but she has no screenshot, nothing of me anywhere because I've not done it. I've not stepped foot on her property, I've done nothing to her. You know, so I'm just, honestly, it's, you know, my husband's a witness to all of it. It's been one of those years. It's just been, and it's just, so yeah, I mean, I would like to have her in a harassment injunction as well. you know,
Her
Connie.
as well?
Well, she has one on me,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And
Yeah.
she got an injunction on me for social media only. That was it, for posting something on social media.
Any questions you have?
Yes, Your Honor. This went back, I've been in and out of the hospital. Okay,
Questions?
yeah, okay, sorry, Your Honor.
There's the process is she's testified. Do you have questions about her testimony as it involved you? And the basis we're here today where she's seeking an order against
Okay.
you.
Well, I've never been down to her house, never walked by her house.
Okay. You're giving me testimony.
Yeah, well, I don't know what else to say because I haven't done nothing to her.
Just a moment. Listen to me. You're talking at the same time I'm trying to explain to you. And it just confuses the record because we're talking over each other. This is the process. She gives her testimony. If you have questions you want to ask concerning the testimony she's given, this is the time to do it.
Okay,
But you ask the questions of her. You don't just make statements or testimony to me, because that comes later. You'll be able to give your testimony later. But right now, do you have questions of this witness?
yes, I would like to know the date and times that this all took place.
Which? She's testified a lot of things.
Well, the times and date that I went, me and my son, as she calls him Robert, went by her house and stuff, all the dates and stuff.
Okay? There's a lot of things, so
Yeah.
she testified and she's provided, I don't know if you got a copy of the petition or not. Did you get a copy of the petition, or just a notice to come to court today?
I got one through the mail that I had to be at court today
Okay,
at
but
1:30.
you didn't get a copy of the petition that she filed?
No,
Because I read through it before we started. It's a written statement that she made concerning incidents that she's presenting as a basis for her to be able to get an injunction against you because of these things. And I went over it. You listened to me? And it talked about different dates and some not specific dates, but just generally. There's some specific dates. But concerning instances in which she believes that you are involved in removing the cats that she's been taking care of, taking their dishes for water and food, and maybe even trapping them and taking them out of the area or whatever. She's talked about that, and then that you have been watching her activities because of the number of security cameras you have on the outside of your house. That are probably, I guess what she's testifying is that they're not only looking for anything on your own property, but going more than that and extending to other people's properties. So she's complaining about that. That's one thing she's talked about. She talked about your son, who she's described by name as Robert, and that he's made comment to her and others, and he's brandished a weapon, a gun, when he's been out and had occasion to meet or come across Miss Rothy, Miss Rothy. Those things, if you have questions about those allegations, now's the time to ask those questions, if you have any.
I just need to know the dates and the times.
Okay, ask her what are the dates and the times then.
I would like to know the dates and the times of all these occurred.
But you don't have the petition. Did you share stories with her about your life and your family concerning somebody being killed and murdered, and someone in your family was murdered, and then someone in your family came to court with a person who was going to trial and killed the person who was the the accused and then killed himself. Did you hear that testimony?
Yes, I heard that testimony, Your Honor.
Okay. Did you ever talk to her about any of that?
I talked to her once about that when we first met each other, before all this other stuff occurred.
Okay. So you did have that conversation with her then?
One, I did.
Once.
One of the other ones, no. But one I did, and that was when we went to court about my husband, and took off.
Is that the one where your brother or son was killed, and he went to court and killed the person accused of the murder?
It wasn't my son. It was my daughter, and it was the judge gave him 5 years for killing our daughter. So my husband, I didn't know my husband had a gun, and pulled the gun out in the courtroom and shot the guy in the back of the head, and then turned the gun on him.
So he got into a court building with a weapon?
But yes, because they didn't have the things that you have here. It wasn't here that it
How
occurred.
long ago was this?
This was back, I didn't give her a date when it happened.
How long ago was it that it happened?
It was back in the 70s,
70s, okay.
yes. So, but this is when we was on good terms, when I was telling her this.
Yeah. And then concerning the cats, and the accusation that you and or your son Robert were involved in the disappearance of the cats?
We had a cat trap, but as far as I seen on the security camera, I didn't see no cats in there, and no one's proved otherwise. That's when I've been in and out of the hospital and going to my appointments, so, but we've never, and I did talk to the manager, and she sent me a letter saying to get rid of the cat trap, and that's what we did, but we never caught a trap. We explained this,
Yeah, you're testifying.
yeah, sorry, Your Honor.
The questions that I'm asking are about what she's testified about. She
We
testified
never-
about the cats disappearing. She believes it's you and or Robert, or both of you doing it. She says that the food that's in bowls or whatever has been taken.
No, I never trapped any cats. We've never trapped any cats.
What about the bowls that they're using to feed the cats?
Nope, we never took no bowls.
Okay. All right. Any other questions you have then about her testimony? How many cameras do you have up on your home?
9,
9?
yes.
Are they all at the front or the back too?
Back, sides, front, and the manager is aware of it, and she has no problems with it, and how they're pointed.
Okay.
That's what the manager, Heather, said.
Are there walls between the properties?
No.
Is this a mobile home thing, or is it? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And how close is your unit to hers?
She's down a little ways from me. There'll be, across the street, there'll be where she's feeding the cats. There's an empty trailer there where she feeds the cats now, across the street from me. Then another double wide trailer, and then hers, down for her.
Okay. Any other questions you have?
No.
All right. You get your witness in. Bring your witness in.
Okay.
Why are you here, sir?
I got an appointment at 2:30.
You got what?
One at 2:30.
Okay.
Is that right if I sit in here, or would you like?
That's fine. Just saying, I don't know how long this is going to go, but you will be the next one up.
And this is room 202, correct?
What?
This is room 202?
Yep, 202. Come forward. Come forward, sir. Up to the front of the courtroom, over this way by the railing, and over this chair right here. Come on around. Yes, that chair right there.
Mike, you want your letter?
May I have that?
You want to hand it to him and see him come back there. Okay, you're still under oath. I put you under oath earlier.
Yes, sir.
And she now is gonna, I don't want you to just read a statement, I want you to, she's supposed to ask you questions that you're to answer then, and we'll proceed that way. You're not here just to make a statement, you're here to respond to questions, to get information from you with regards to any of the incidents that she's presenting to the court about why she's seeking this order.
Okay.
Okay? So let her begin with her questions.
Okay, can I stand?
Yes?
So Mike, can you please just tell me how this all started with Connie and her son moving in March with the disappearance of all the cat bulls on Jeff's property that we had permission to be in?
March of what year?
It was this year, 2021.
Okay, so it's not been there a year yet.
No. So if you can just give your testimonial on what you've witnessed with Connie and Robert when it all started in March with the stealing of the bulls and then your confrontation with Robert.
Okay. Who do I address here with this? You? Okay. Shelley had been caring for a small colony of TNR'd cats. Typically when the cats are TNR'd, they're returned back to the place where they were initially trapped at. That's part of the program. It's part of Arizona law that they can't be removed, taken anywhere else unless they can be fostered or if they're kittens in confined homes. So these cats were returned to the location at lot 139.
Who are the owners?
Owners of?
The cats.
The cats are not owned by anybody.
So they're just wandering in this area, not owned by anybody who's specifically supposed to care for them.
Right. Arizona calls them free roaming cats.
Okay, I understand that. I'm
Okay.
just asking. The law says that they can't be taken from an area where there's nobody who has stepped forward as the owner, who's got them caring for them, has left the area perhaps, abandoned them, and they're in the neighborhood.
Right.
Then somebody can pick up the responsibility on their own to start feeding them and caring for them.
She did.
No, I'm saying that's what the law says?
I'm sorry?
That's what the law says?
I quite honestly am not real deeply knowledgeable about the law, so I don't know if there's a provision in there for it or if there is not. With other colonies, I know that's the practice with those colonies, that whoever was involved in trapping them and getting them returned typically is feeding them and taking care of, seeing to their shelter.
Okay. Well, so then I would like for you to give your witness to Robert telling you that he stole the bulls. So please share that. Your experience on July 4th with you being approached.
Okay. I've got a problem with that question because we're not here for Robert. We're here for her.
Okay.
Even though he may have seen Robert, who apparently, because you haven't confirmed that, only what she said, it's her son? That's what you said, correct?
Right.
And that Robert is the one that you're talking about, what experience he had with him, not Miss Wingo. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's just a fine line though, Your Honor, because...
No fine line, there's no fine line. The question is,
Okay.
we're here, as I indicated earlier, this is a petition against Miss Wingo.
Okay.
You can only have it against one person, not two or three.
Okay.
Even though they may be related, husband, wife, children, family members, whatever it might be. Because we're here as to what this person that you're seeking the order against has done,
Right.
for which you're entitled to receive an order
Okay.
issued by the court, injunction against harassment. So,
All right, well-
anything he has to say about Robert really doesn't help me make a decision whether I'm going to grant this petition or not. It has to be what this person's doing.
Well, then I would like for you, as my husband, and for what we have been through, to give the testimonial on our experience with Connie Wingo since March. What we've experienced,
One at a time. How many instances do you recall having contact directly with Ms. Wingo
Myself personally,
concerning anything that's alleged about her harassing you, well, not you, but your wife, because she's the petitioner. It wouldn't be including you, because it's her that's filed the petition.
The one time we did have contact, or I personally was in proximity and conversation with her, once the bowls started disappearing, we wanted to put up a trail cam to see if we could capture on video who the person was that was actually stealing the bowls. And looking for a location to place it, Connie explained that she had been having people come around the northwest end of her trailer, because it sits on an angle on the lot, and that someone had actually tried to jimmy her door and get in. And this was again another time when she mentioned that she has a .45 and she knows how to use it. There was also mention of a rifle. I don't know if she has a shotgun or what it might be, but she has indicated, and I can't verbatim remember exactly the words that she used, but she indicated that she was not afraid to use it if somebody comes, which I guess understandably.
To her house.
On the house. But anyway, in locating a place for the trail cam, we offered to put it in a location that would face the northwest end of her home, and that way if anybody came in to get into the patio where the cats were being fed, they would be caught on the video. Well, we left, I put it up, and she was agreeable with the situation at that point. And the next day after I looked at the footage, I realized it was intrusive to her, it was intrusive to the other neighbor, and it really didn't catch anything. The tree branches were blowing and it was no good. So the next day the camera was removed, but we had a conversation with her the day it was installed, and she was in support of it in an attempt to get anybody on video that didn't belong there, that might be coming in to steal the bowls or break into her home, you know, for that matter. That would be one occasion that I can recall specifically. I personally made it an attempt to avoid contact with these people. I was very uncomfortable in their presence. Just some of the things that have been said, they were just people that especially the son, was intimidated around, and I really didn't want to be around him, and I still don't. So.
More questions? Did you ever on any occasion observe her to go to the property where the cats were and take their bowls?
I did not.
Okay. Did you ever observe her with a cat trap with a cat in it?
No. But I don't stay up all night either and look for it.
No, I'm just asking whether you ever did it or
Yeah.
not. Okay. Any other questions you have?
Well, I would say to you, you know, a lot of it's here, you know, mentally and what's being done, and what you've witnessed and watched with me, what I've gone through with Connie, and what it's done to you, and how it's made you feel, and what we've been through this year. And it's just a broad statement on that would be, I think, you know, very important, because whether or not you've had direct contact, you've had to hear it from me since March, what I've been dealing with, because I've been the one that's been responsible and taking care of the cats until I was in the hospital. And then you've had to deal with that, you know, but of course it wasn't directly from Connie, it was from Robert. But anyway, I just feel. Huh?
You're testifying. You need to ask questions of the witness.
Okay, so Mike, I'd just like for you to just give me your feelings on how you feel about how this has affected our lives. Putting our home up for sale, I mean our lives.
How has Miss Wingo affected your life? Directly. What has she done to you that has impacted you, or that you observed has impacted your wife? What have you seen her do?
Well, would I have, I mean, I haven't been, to see her do something, I have to be absolutely present in front of her. What I see is the end result of what she is doing to my wife.
An
That comes
example of
directly,
what- you know what she's done to your wife? Personally, because you observed it, or because you were discussing it with your wife?
well, I haven't been present through all of it myself.
What have
because-
you been present for when your wife was present, that she is petitioned for this order of injunction because of harassment from Miss Wingo?
Well, I'm sorry, it's taken me a minute here, but
No, it's
I just,
okay. I'll give you.
it's
few
like I
minutes, that's
said,
fine.
from the very beginning of this thing, I really tried to remove myself from it, but I can't because it keeps coming home. And after I know Robert isn't a part of this, but I have had experience with him, and so that resides within me. Even to discard it, to answer a question, it still resides within me. She is the senior member in that home and is responsible, just like I am the senior member in my home and I am
Is
responsible.
he an adult?
Pardon me?
Is he an adult?
He's over 18, I think. I don't really know that much about him.
Okay.
But he's not 55.
No.
Okay,
18 or older is an adult.
not in our home.
Pardon
Well,
me?
not in 55-plus community we live in.
No, I'm talking about in life, in
Oh,
this,
right.
in this society. 18 and older is considered an adult, not a minor that is responsible by adults who
Oh, I
are
understand.
the parents of
Yes.
that child, or adoptive parent, whoever it may be, who's in charge of those who are under 18.
So,
Unless there's somebody who's incapacitated, and there's a court order that is beyond 18 that they are responsible for them.
Okay.
And that's not before me that I'm aware of. So, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
so, kind of lost my train of thought on that
Okay,
whole
well,
thing.
get back to where you can remember where you were. Again, the parameters of what we are here is, this is all concerning the allegations in this petition, generally speaking, about things that have occurred according to her review between Ms. Wingo, Robert, the son, and her and/or you, that have been disturbing, that have been concerning, that have in some way caused her to feel that she's being harassed. She wants to get an order to keep her away from her in some way. The petitions for injunction against harassment have no contact. That's what they're for. So she's wanting an order of no contact from Ms. Wingo, based upon things that have happened specifically to her, not you, to her, regarding Ms. Wingo, since she moved in March of this year, apparently. That you have
Let me
personal
see if
knowledge
I
of.
can,
Your personal knowledge, I'm going to discuss with her that she tells you about what happened, but what you saw.
Right.
to corroborate that.
yeah, and I understand what you're saying now. Quite honestly, I've never been in this situation before to understand the differentiation between her position and what a witness is, what witness does. I can only relate to what I experienced of the both of them, which I think I've already stated has been limited because I wanted to withdraw myself from any contact with these folks at all. She, on the other hand, had to deal directly with it. So I have to question whether, you know, with my one or two experiences with Robert and my observation of his behavior, his approach, and how uncomfortable he makes me feel, if I'm of any value as a witness at this point, because I think honestly what you're looking for is going to come from her. She is the one that's had the experiencing with it. Mine has been limited intentionally because I really want nothing to do with them. And so I can't sit here and make things up about Connie. I can express my concerns about her son, which I think is where the injunction should really go, because he has been the one that's been outside. He's the one that's been approaching in a aggressive, aggravated manner. And quite honestly, anybody that threatens to shoot a cat at 3 in the morning, that concerns me, not just for our safety, but for the safety of everybody in the community. So that said, to answer you for what you're looking for as my experiences with her, they would be very, very limited, and I don't think I am what is being looked for here to provide what she has been through, because I haven't been present for it every time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think where this is that she's been the one that's had more contact with them than you have.
Yes.
And she's shared that with you, and this has become a concern in your home together about the allegations that she's spoken of in her attachment to her petition, what she's testified to. And my only concern is if you're going to be a witness, what you actually saw, what you heard or saw, that would be a corroboration for what some of the things that she said that have been happening. But most of them are just basically what she has experienced, except what she shared with you, and then the instances that you've spoken of with Robert, which is not an issue today because it's not against him.
Right.
It's against his mother.
But also, I think when I consider the ramifications of the things that Connie is, I don't know how they got into Shelley's Facebook account. Everything.
Nor do I at this point in time.
Yeah, everything that she or they do that is directed at my wife hits me. So not in a first-person basis.
Right.
I am affected in a second-person basis, and I'm honestly emotional. I'm stressed beyond what I probably have ever been in my life, and I quite honestly just want this to end so that maybe I can go to bed at night and not worry about what may be coming our way, or when the next time a Mesa PD officer is going to come up our driveway. Maybe it's me that should be filing, I don't know, but it's like not a direct confrontation with me, it's an indirect confrontation that has affected me deeply.
I appreciate that, and I understand that, especially when you're together and somebody else, whether they're the ones that's having the incidents happen, it still comes in and impacts you or the other person just as much as it does that person, in the sense of what's happening and the pressures and the emotions and everything else that it causes in the home. I understand that. I just wanted to know because I have to look at evidence to corroborate things, and that's what I need to have. I understand emotions and so are the side part of it that impact people directly or indirectly, and I need to find out that information.
There was 4 PD officers and the officer at the police department. There's all 5 of those officers recommended that both parties file an injunction, and they said that'll put a stop to this right now. I don't know how, again, all that works. I haven't been involved in it.
Well, I appreciate what law enforcement does, but law enforcement should not be saying what the court's going to just go down to get one.
Yeah.
It still requires
reasoning.
There needs to be evidence in a petition presented and so forth. It isn't just go down and get it. You know, some people get that impression, well, they said I could just go down and get it, and they don't go to come down, they don't get it automatically. Why? The officer said I could get it.
Yeah,
But
I guess,
in that sense.
I guess, you know, in doing this, I was hoping that it would put an end to this, and
Yeah.
because Shelley and I want to move on. We have a life that, you know, we want to move on with our life. We want this put behind us, and I don't know what it's going to take to do that.
Okay.
But, you know, I want to be able to walk out, drive out, and know that I can go someplace and come back, and I'm not being watched, monitored with my coming and going. And we put our home up for sale, and I mean, to this day, I would, much as I love my home, and I've remodeled it and built it into a nice place, and I'd be willing to give it up just to get away from this, because I don't know how much more of it I want to deal with.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. Anything else?
No, we're good, thank you.
All right. You have any questions?
Mm,
Questions, not statements.
right. No, not at this time.
Okay. You may step down, sir. Thank you.
thank you.
You can remain in the courtroom now.
I'm sorry?
You can remain in the courtroom now because you testified.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now I'm going to let her give her testimony with regards to the allegations in the petition, and then you'll be able to give your reply to her response.
Okay.
So you've heard me review what she stated, the things that, or the basis of those things happening that impacted them from you and or your son. Of course, your son's not the one that they're seeking this against, they're seeking it against you. So I need to have what you have to present, want to present, in regards to this petition that's been filed against you for this injunction against you.
Right, well, I didn't come prepared because I was not aware that she filed that. I thought we was here because she violated the injunction of harassment by posting, and she got, the officer came to my residence, and, because he talked to the sergeant about it, and the sergeant said yes, so they went down to her residence, the officer did, and talked to her about it, even showed her the video that she posted, and then took off, and he said that he didn't take her to jail at that time, but he did arrest her. Okay, and he said that we will be going to court. So I forgot what day he told, so I called the courthouse to find out, and that's when they told me, and then I think it was like 4 days later I got the thing that we'd be in court today. And that's what I thought we was here for.
This
Yes.
this that you received a notice of is not your case,
Right,
because the plaintiff in this one is Ms. Rothy.
right, and I was not aware of
And
that.
you're the defendant. So if you read that, that's what I'm saying. That's what they're here for. It's not because of any allegation that she's filed, that they've been filed a complaint against her for violating your order of protection. It's or your injunction. It's
Right.
just her seeking to get one against you. So now that you know that, and you've heard her testimony, and I've read to you the allegations
Right.
she's made while you were in court, I need to have your response to what she's testified to and to this petition that she's seeking to get an order against you of injunction against harassment.
Okay. Well, all the things that she's saying is not true. Besides one thing, I don't hardly leave my residence. You know, besides when I go to, you know, the cancer hospital in Phoenix, and to my appointments. Other than that, I'm in my house. You know, because I can't really get around much. And so I don't monitor them, you know, when they come and go, because I can care less, you know, when they come and go. I've never been down to her residence walking by her house since I put that injunction of harassment on her for posting a target on social media and stating that when I visualized Connie and her son, it felt good. And I haven't hardly left my home besides to go to my appointments because my children did not want me to leave. So, and I have
How many children
not.
do you have at home?
Huh?
How many children do you have at
One.
home? Okay, so Robert,
Well, if you want to call him Robert,
what's his name?
he doesn't really want his name given out.
Well, he's been somebody who's been referenced in here, who's from your residence, that has brandished weapons.
Well, he did have a gun, but when he had the gun, he had it on his side, and there's a video that she posted on that with the gun on his side. We did get a statement from that saying that we was in violation of having the gun, on his side where people could see it, so that's not allowed. Okay, so we wind up getting rid of the gun. It hasn't been into our residence for quite a while now. He took it over to a friend's house and left it there in a safe.
So
And the manager is aware of it.
he hasn't sold the gun, he just put it in a different place.
Yes. And the manager said that was fine. He said we didn't have to take the gun out of the trailer park or out of our home. We just can't let other people see it, and it was on his side. There is a video that she posted on social media.
Is this the rules of the park?
Yes, it is. Just like it's also the rules that we're not supposed to feed any stray animals, especially if it's not on your property. And that's the trailer next to me is not their property. So.
Did you have conversations with her about the cats?
No, I did not have no conversation with her. And
About
I didn't.
the cats?
No,
Any conversation at all with her?
no.
You never talked to her?
I have talked to her, yes.
That's conversation.
Well, when we first moved in January and not March, I moved in January 13th of this year.
Okay.
We had a conversation with me, and I never got to see the trailer at all when we bought the trailer. My daughter is a co-owner of the trailer, me and my daughter. My son is on the contract to be there. Took up, and when we pulled into the driveway so I could see it, they give us the code to unpunch to get the key to unlock the door. She was already there. Shelley was already there at trailer 139, the MTA trailer next to us. Okay, and she approached us and she said, "Do you guys like cats?" And I kind of looked at her kind of funny, and I said, "Well, yes, I love cats. I have a cat in my house right now." So, and we've had other conversations. She would come up to in my driveway. She would talk to my daughter and my son-in-law and my granddaughter that's 5 that I babysat for. And then after that, it just kind of went downhill with the stray cats. I did admit we did have a cat trap. We've had that cat trap since we moved there. But I wasn't trapping them. My son was trying to, because they kept calling, because she's called the police department on us several times about it. Okay, when one officer came down and talked to us and said that we are in our rights to trap them if they're on our property and we don't want them there, but there's 2 things we could not do, he said. And that was to take them somewhere else and drop them off in the valley or harm them. We either had to take them to the animal control or the vet if we caught any. Okay, I got the notice, someone let me know, the manager let me know what was going on. And I said, well, we have a cat trap, but as far as I know, we have not caught any, because my son said, well, he hasn't caught any because they didn't like the food that he was putting in there. Okay. And then all of a sudden posts on social media started coming about ski masks, the target. So the officer seen the target and he said, well, I'm not worried about everything else. I'm worried about this because that's criminal. And he went down to talk to her about it. Then when she didn't get nowhere with the officers, with that, she called one of the officers at ASS, and then she called the animal control on me. The animal control came to my residence. He didn't see nothing wrong, that I was doing. I was in my right to trap the cats if I wanted to, if they was on my property, but when I did, they become my cats. Zach Woods, the officer, and the animal control guy said. So, but other than that, being going down to her residence here recently or anything else, no. I don't even go by there when I leave. I go the totally direction. Because when you pull into the trailer park off of Dobson, you go in and then you turn to your right and you go straight down and around, and that's where I live. I don't even pass her trailer or walk by her trailer. So.
Did you have a conversation with her regarding weapons that you owned, that you knew how to shoot?
I don't have any weapons.
Did you ever talk to her about having
No.
ability or having experience in shooting weapons, rifle or handgun?
No, I never did. Because I don't own any guns. My son's the only one that owned the gun, and like I said, he took it over to a friend's house in a safety deposit box thing, I guess you want to call it. So.
All right, anything else?
No.
You reply.
I'm not
You
asking.
reply is her response.
Replying?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not going back to the beginning, it's replying from what she responded to from your original direct testimony.
Well, it's wandering off of what this is all about. And I'm sticking with why I'm here and what this is all about. And Connie is lying. She has told me, she has told my neighbors, she's told my husband, she has a gun, she has a gun, she has a gun. She's very proud of her guns. I've talked to her way more than one time.
Did you see her with guns?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see her with guns?
I've never seen her with it, no.
Okay,
But
I was just asking whether you ever
Yeah.
seen it.
But-
Because it was said that somebody at some point in time saw a gun.
that would
Robert.
be Robert with a gun.
Yeah.
But with Connie, every story, every time I've talked to her, she claims I've talked to her only once. So that means that every single story I've ever heard happened in one conversation, which is a lie. Every conversation, quite a few conversations, have always been about guns. She loves to talk about guns.
She ever
And-
threaten you with a gun?
Hmm?
She ever threaten you with a gun? Tell you she's going to shoot you?
No, just horrific stories about her using guns, shooting a guy in that story. And then the first story, she told me her son was murdered. Now she's saying it's her daughter that was murdered and that she got a gun in a courtroom.
No, she didn't get it in the courtroom. Somebody
Wait.
else brought it in the courtroom. She testified.
Right, so anyway, what I'm exposing is non-truth. It's being exaggerated, it's not true. It's just not true. And we've spoken quite a few times, a lot actually. And that day when we were putting up the camera, we sat and had a conversation about, she had told me homeless people were breaking into her home or homeless people were stealing all my dishes. And that's just not factual. She agreed to let us put up a camera. We took it down in one night because we felt we were being intrusive. And she knew all about it. She sat out there, she took a picture of it. She was very aware. We've had conversations. And it did go downhill when I found out that I was being lied to. I approached her, asked her directly, hey Connie, the office told me that she has been calling the office every day complaining about me feeding the cats. I had permission to feed the cats. The office, park management, has given me permission to feed the cats. That's why I never got written up. I never got letters about it because I had permission to do so. She calls the park, never got written up for that because I'm not doing anything wrong. But that's when it went downhill because they just completely lied about everything. They were the ones stealing the bowls. Confronted her about that, no, have nothing to do with it. But there was a homeless person back there because I'm sure they have a use for my cat bowls. But that's when it went downhill, Your Honor, is when I found out it's just been nothing but lies. And that, I don't know why it has to be about, I mean, cats, I took them and across the street so they wouldn't be, you know, a problem for her, and it still wasn't good enough. And my neighbor told me that her son was snooping around his yard looking for where now I'm feeding the cats. You know, it's just been one thing after another, and it's just not true. It's not factual. And I don't have 9 cameras surrounding my home for any kind of proof. And I'm thinking with 9 cameras that maybe she would have more evidence showing my trespassing or showing all this stuff that she claims I'm doing that I'm not doing. You know, and actually the park has only let her have the cameras because they told them to keep them pointed down, but because they can manipulate the cameras and I see them moving, obviously they're tracking and watching, and she is watching me. She doesn't have transportation. She drove past me this morning, so that's not even true. You drove right past my house this morning. You know, so whatever. I don't care if you drive past my house. We shouldn't have to live that way. You know, but be honest about it. You know, we've talked quite a bit. You know, and yes, you're stealing the bowls, you're stealing my food, you stole my cat tower. And yes, my cats are gone. Whatever you did with them, I have no idea. I'll never know, because it just won't be the truth. I'll never get the truth out of this woman. You know, so therefore, you know, if you can't have honesty, what do you have? I can't trust this woman, I can't. You know, she said, you know what, she has the right to own a firearm, absolutely. You know, why would, they say they got rid of it, why would they get rid of it? I mean, there's nobody telling them that he had to get rid of a gun. She doesn't have to get rid of her firearms. You know, so why say you don't have any? I mean, why lie about that? I mean, she's, you know, so I just don't get all the lies. We're here, and that's what I've said before. I'm here to tell the truth, and that's what I'm doing. And I want the truth to be heard, because the lies have got to stop, and someone has to be held accountable for that. And this is just not acceptable. You know, I mean, she can lie in saying she was shot 4 times, and I just like to know, is this true? Does she really have cancer?
Not pertinent.
I know, it's not, but I'm talking about lies, and it's just time that it's just, you know, so as far as this goes, absolutely, I don't trust her at all. And my neighbor saw her and her son right in front of my mailbox. That's how they got my name and how they got my husband's name. And then that's when all the digging and searching goes. That's how they know my full name, his full name. They know my birth date. They know, because on Facebook I never had any issues. You know, I have friends on there. And then when this started happening, I got over 10 requests from people that were all connected to Connie, and I blocked every one of them. And, you know, he's a young kid, he's 27, he knows how to manipulate and get into that, and, you know, that's a whole other thing. But that still is walking into my private world. This is, you know, a world where I have my certain amount of friends, and it's all private, and it's in all I've blocked, all that I can do, and that they still find a way to manipulate and get in. So I have to just not go on, and I can't do anything because I'm just thinking, okay, everything I do, I'm being watched. And then it is, and it's true.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else you want to say?
Well, we never manipulated, we never hacked into her Facebook account. It wasn't private. And the way I got her name and her husband's name is I called records at the courthouse to find out who owned their trailer. I didn't go onto Facebook because I didn't know what her last name. When I first met her in January the 13th, I only knew her by Shelley. Didn't know her last name. So my daughter, she sent me this phone number for the records to call. And that's how I got her last name, so I can file the injunction of harassment on her on the target that she posted.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I've received the evidence from both parties. I had the witness on behalf of the plaintiff, this matter, petitioner. I've reviewed not only what has been presented by testimony, but also the and the statement that was attached to the petition by the petitioner in this matter. I've heard a lot of testimony. There's reference to other people, with neighbors, what they saw, and they said they're not here. I can't consider that because they're not here. So that is not persuasive at all. I don't have any proof. You can certainly go and check into your account and find out if anybody's hacked it. You can check with them and they'll know. You could have got that information to prove or establish that in fact she did get into it. I don't have that to give me the weight and credibility to sustain it. A lot of the things we're talking about here are either people that aren't here to corroborate, or it's not sufficient to show that she stole bulbs. There's no proof that I've heard of that. There's feelings that because she made comments about the cats, that I'm supposed to presume that she was the one that stole the bulbs, or that took the cats one at a time until they were all gone. I have no proof to establish that, even by a preponderance of the evidence. And that's required in order for the court to issue an injunction on a petition that's filed. And I don't have it here. I have too many things that are not corroborated. They're more statements of innuendo, of non-corroborated statements about other people. I have nothing to show that anything about the cameras she's put up are illegal. And they're not illegal, I can't tell her to take them down. If there's something about the way she put them up, placed them, or whatever else that could show that there's a violation of the law, then they can be ordered to be taken down. If not, then she has the right, I guess, for her protection, which most of those cameras are for security. In any event, my conclusion from the evidence that has been presented is not met the burden of proof required. And so the court's order is denying the petition. You have the right, Ms. Rothy, to appeal this decision. And my clerk will tell you how to do that. And you can follow that if you want to, and go to the Superior Court, where you present the evidence and so forth. So if you and your husband would step inside this door right here, my clerk will give you your copy, and then I'll have her go get her copy after you got your copy. And ma'am, Miss Wingo, if you'll have the seat back there, I got another case I've got to get into pretty quick.
Thank you, Your
I'm
Honor.
behind on that one already.
Of course.
Have a good day.
Yep.